Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Phyllis's so-called grand escape plan was supposed to fix everything, clean up her latest mess, rewrite the narrative, and make her look like the misunderstood genius who was unfairly persecuted yet again, but instead, it became the final, humiliating disaster that sent shockwaves through Genoa City, especially once Lily Winters stepped into the line of fire and exposed the entire truth, igniting one of the most explosive confrontations the town has seen in years. As this unforgiving saga unfolds, it becomes clear that Phyllis underestimated the very people she took for granted, Lily, Kane, and even the remnants of trust she still thought she had. In the end, all she managed to do was set off a chain reaction of disgrace, fury, shattered loyalty, and emotional wreckage that will follow her long after the dust settles. Phyllis had been working on her escape plan for weeks, quietly, obsessively, and with that signature red determination that always burns too hot, too bright, and far too dangerously. She believed she was smarter than everyone, that she could outwit Chance, Devon, Lily, Daniel, Christine, and even the AI systems she tried manipulating. Her scheme hinged on covering her tracks with a sophisticated AI script she coded herself, one designed to redirect blame, bury digital evidence, and frame multiple targets without leaving a trace. She thought she could erase incriminating emails, fabricate timestamps, rewrite audit logs, and rewrite the story so she appeared innocent while pinning suspicion on people she considered expendable. But as usual, Phyllis pushed too far, got too reckless, and underestimated the one woman who had reached her limit, Lily Winters, the very person Phyllis wrongly assumed would cave, just like before. Lily had been watching Phyllis closely, quietly collecting pieces of the truth while working alongside Devon and the Chancellor Winters tech team. The deeper they dug, the more unnerving the data became. Phyllis's digital fingerprints were everywhere, coded in her unmistakable style, messy but brilliant, chaotic but sharp, perfectly matching her impulsive personality. The AI scripts she used weren't just flawed, they were arrogant, practically taunting the viewer with their cleverness. And when Lily finally found the master sequence Phyllis had tried to bury under layers of misdirection, the last thread snapped inside her. It wasn't just betrayal, it was personal. Phyllis hadn't merely risked the company, she played with the livelihoods of every employee and the trust of everyone who had given her too many second chances. By the time Lily confronted Phyllis, the air in Chancellor Park vibrated with tension. Phyllis knew she had been caught. She tried to bluff her way out, she always does, but Lily didn't flinch. She laid out every detail of the AI plot, every deceitful line of code, every manipulated trail Phyllis had created. The truth hit Phyllis like a bullet, there was no escape. Lily Winters had outplayed her. She wasn't the naive, forgiving woman Phyllis remembered, she had evolved into someone fierce, strategic, and utterly done with being the one who cleaned up Phyllis's chaos. Phyllis sputtered excuses, blaming the pressure, the misunderstandings, the lack of support, every tired defense she'd used for years. But Lily wasn't listening. She'd spent too long being patient, too long pretending she didn't see the pattern. And when Phyllis tried to turn the tables, accusing Lily of being cold, unforgiving, ungrateful, Lily stepped closer, so close Phyllis felt the rage radiating off her like electricity. And then it happened. Lily Winters slapped Phyllis Summers across the face with a crack that echoed through the park, a moment of raw fury and long-suppressed heartbreak exploding into the open. Phyllis staggered backward, stunned into silence for once in her life. Lily didn't apologize, because she wasn't sorry. Instead, she delivered the words that cut deeper than the slap itself. You didn't just cross a line, Phyllis, you burned every bridge you ever had. You ruined everything. No more forgiveness. No more chances. For Phyllis, humiliation washed over her like a tidal wave. She could handle anger, hatred, judgment, but seeing Lily, a woman who once embodied patience and compassion, transform into someone who despised her? That broke something inside her. Still, Phyllis being Phyllis, she tried to salvage her dignity, claiming she had acted for the greater good, insisting she was protecting Daniel, protecting Summer, protecting herself from being destroyed. But the more she talked, the more pathetic she sounded, and Lily saw right through her. However, what came next was even more devastating. Lily revealed she had already told Kane about everything, every betrayal, every digital manipulation, every risk Phyllis took with company assets, every lie she spun. Kane had been blindsided. Though he wasn't formally part of the situation, Lily felt he needed to know, especially after their shared history with Billy, with the company, and with how Phyllis had interfered in the past. Kane was enraged, not just at Phyllis, but that Lily had been carrying this burden alone. He wanted to protect her, but Lily had already made her choice. Standing with her shoulders squared, voice trembling but firm, Lily told Phyllis that she was leaving Genoa City for a while, not because she was running away, but because she was reclaiming her life. She needed distance, clarity, and a break from the toxic cycle that kept pulling her into chaos she never created. She told Phyllis that Kane had begged her to stay, fought to convince her not to go, but Lily no longer needed permission or validation. She was choosing herself for the first time in years. Phyllis broke then, just a little, because despite everything, she knew Lily had always been one of the good ones, one of the few people she hadn't meant to destroy. She reached for her, apologizing, pleading, promising she could fix it, but Lily stepped back. "You don't get to drag me down with you again," she said quietly. "Not this time." Kane arrived moments later, breathless from searching the park. He saw the tension, saw the redness on Phyllis's cheek, saw the finality in Lily's eyes. When Lily told him she was leaving town, Kane looked devastated but didn't argue, because Lily's resolve was unshakable. Instead, he turned toward Phyllis, and for the first time in a long time, Kane's voice was laced with disappointment rather than anger. He warned her that the damage she had caused wouldn't disappear just because she claimed good intentions. He told her she needed serious help, real help, not excuses, not escapes, not schemes. Phyllis tried one last time to defend herself, insisting she had been pushed into a corner, that people expected the worst from her, that she was trying to survive. But Kane shook his head. "You don't get it," he said. "People trusted you. Lily trusted you. And you treated her like collateral damage." As Lily walked away, this time for real, Phyllis felt a rare sensation, genuine shame. She tried to call after her, but the words died on her tongue. She watched Kane wrap an arm around Lily as they walked toward the car, their silhouettes fading into the distance, leaving her standing alone in the cold breeze of Chancellor Park. For once, Phyllis didn't have a comeback, a plan, or a sudden stroke of manipulative genius. She only had the crushing realization that she had destroyed yet another relationship, another opportunity, another chance at redemption. Back at her hotel room, Phyllis collapsed onto the bed, replaying every moment, every choice. She saw Lily slap in slow motion, heard Kane's voice echoing, felt the sting of their disappointment like an open wound. Her AI plot had blown up spectacularly, her escape plan had failed miserably, and now she was left with nothing but the consequences of her own self-destructive brilliance. And though she would eventually rebuild, as Phyllis always does, this time she was forced to sit in the wreckage a little longer, with no shortcuts, no quick fixes, and no one left to blame. But Genoa City wouldn't stay quiet for long. Once word of Lily's departure spread, questions would erupt. Daniel would confront his mother. Summer would distance herself. Christine would push for a full investigation. Devon would demand accountability. And Phyllis? She would feel the walls closing in, knowing her enemies had multiplied while her allies had vanished. For the first time in years, she wasn't the hunter, she was the hunted. Yet beneath all the chaos and humiliation, something dark flickered in Phyllis's eyes. Shame may have crushed her momentarily, but shame wasn't a permanent state for someone like her. It was fuel. And while Lily had walked away with her head held high, Phyllis Summers was already plotting silently, not an escape this time, but a reinvention. Because the world may hate her, judge her, and strip her bare, but Phyllis always survives. Always rises. Always returns stronger. But for now, Lily's slap still burned on her cheek. Her AI plot lay exposed. Her escape plan lay in ruins. Kane's warning echoed. And Genoa City watched as a woman who had destroyed so much was finally forced to face the one thing she had spent her entire life running from. The hours after Lily's departure felt endless for Phyllis, each second dragging like a weight across her chest as she grappled with a fallout she never truly believed would come. Phyllis Summers was no stranger to consequences, no rookie to scandal, and no novice at clawing herself out of the rubble she caused, but this time felt different. This time, the silence in her room wasn't empowering or strategic. It was suffocating. Powerful. Condemning. And worst of all, it was honest. She had no one to blame, no one to manipulate, no quick-witted monologue that could spin this disaster into a misunderstanding. She wasn't misunderstood. She was caught. Exposed. And left completely alone. Across town, Genoa City buzzed with whispers. Word of Lily Winter's sudden exit spread through Jabot, Chancellor Winter's, society, the coffee house, every familiar corner of the city where people had grown far too accustomed to Phyllis's chaos. Devon was the first to react, storming through the halls of the company he and Lily rebuilt with furious intensity. He demanded answers, and when he heard Lily had not only uncovered Phyllis's AI plot but had been so emotionally broken that she left town, Devon's rage rose like a storm. He trusted her, Devon muttered to Nate, to Abby, to anyone who would listen. Lily trusted Phyllis. And she used that trust to sabotage us. Again. Nate agreed, arms folded, jaw tense. This wasn't a mistake. It was calculated. She built an entire AI manipulation system. That takes planning. Time. Intention. Devon slammed a laptop shut. We're pressing charges. But Abby spoke up then, expressing a fear others shared quietly. Phyllis always finds a way out. She slips through legal cracks like they're made for her. That, Devon snapped, is going to end. But even he knew that holding Phyllis Summers accountable was like trying to hold water in your hands, it always found a way to escape through the cracks. Back at the hotel, Phyllis finally stood, pacing restlessly. Her mind raced with what-ifs, with defensive arguments she wished she had used, with regrets she didn't want to admit. Lily's tear-filled eyes replayed again and again, along with that brutal slap that still burned, physically and emotionally. Phyllis had been slapped before. She had been screamed at, betrayed, abandoned. But this slap wasn't about anger or rivalry. It came from heartbreak. And heartbreak was harder to fight. Devon wasn't the only one preparing for confrontation. Daniel and Summer were already headed toward the hotel after hearing the whispers. Daniel's shoulders were stiff with dread. Summer's eyes were sharp with disappointment, the kind that cut deeper than anger. Do you think she really did it? Summer asked, voice trembling despite her attempt at composure. Daniel sighed. It's Mom. She always does it. Summer closed her eyes. She didn't disagree. Meanwhile, Kane Ashby stood alone outside Crimson Lights, replaying the park confrontation in his mind. He had been furious with Phyllis, but the greater pain came from Lily's expression when she told him she had to leave Genoa City to heal. He understood her decision, but understanding didn't make the ache easier. He knew Lily had reached her breaking point, and Phyllis had been the match that lit the explosion. Lily's departure wasn't simply about the AI plot, it was about years of emotional exhaustion, the heavy burden of always being the strong one, the forgiver, the fixer. Kane took a deep breath and made a decision. He had to confront Phyllis again, not out of revenge, but out of necessity. He couldn't let Lily carry the blame for leaving, not when it was Phyllis who pushed her past her limits. And he certainly couldn't let Phyllis believe, for even a moment, that she could twist the narrative to make Lily look weak or reactionary. Phyllis's hotel room door rattled with sharp, impatient knocking moments before Daniel and Summer arrived. She flinched. She knew that knock. That rhythm. That firmness. Kane. She hesitated, considering pretending she wasn't there, but Kane's voice made that impossible. Phyllis, open the door. Now. She swallowed hard and opened it. Kane stepped inside without waiting for permission. His fury was colder this time, more controlled, which somehow terrified Phyllis more than his earlier outburst. She left, Kane said, voice tight. Lily left Genoa City. She couldn't breathe here anymore, not with what you did hanging over her. Do you even understand what you cost her? Phyllis bristled. I didn't force her to leave. She chose. No, Kane cut her off. You made the environment unbearable. You humiliated her. You blindsided her. And when she finally stood up for herself, you pushed her to a breaking point. Phyllis clenched her fists. I didn't know she'd take it that hard. That's the problem, Kane said with a bitter laugh. You never know. You never think. You never consider the collateral damage. Phyllis felt that sting deeper than she expected. She exhaled shakily. I didn't mean to hurt Lily. I didn't want. But you did. Kane stepped closer. And now she's gone. And you are responsible. The words struck her like another slap. A second blow layered over the first, raw and painful. Before she could speak again, another knock echoed. This time, she recognized the voices instantly. Daniel. Summer. Kane stepped back as they entered, but he didn't leave. He wanted to hear what Phyllis told her children, and hold her accountable if she dared lie. Summer spoke first, voice trembling but steady enough to land every word like a punch. Mom, tell me this is not true. Daniel crossed his arms. Tell us you didn't sabotage Chancellor Winters using AI. Tell us Lily didn't leave town because of something you did. Phyllis opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Summer's eyes watered. Mom. Finally, Phyllis whispered, I made mistakes. But I didn't mean. Daniel slammed his hand against the wall. Mom. Stop saying you didn't mean to do it. You wrote the code. You executed the scripts. You tried to cover your tracks. That's not a mistake. That's intent. Kane watched silently, arms crossed, jaw set. Phyllis's voice cracked. I was trying to protect myself. Everyone was against me. I needed leverage. Summer sobbed. So you destroyed Lily's life to give yourself leverage? Phyllis shook her head vehemently. No, it wasn't like that. Daniel's voice was cold. Then explain it. Explain how you justified putting your freedom above everyone's trust. Again. Phyllis froze. She had no explanation that would satisfy them. No justification that didn't sound monstrous. Summer wiped her tears. Mom, you promised you were done lying. You swore you were changing. Phyllis's eyes filled. I tried. No, Daniel said. You tried to get away with it. Not to change. Those words pierced straight into her core. Summer's voice broke. Do you know what Lily said before she left? She said she couldn't forgive you. She said she was ashamed of you. Phyllis covered her mouth, a sob escaping. Daniel shook his head, voice softer now but heavy with disappointment. Mom, Lily wasn't just another person you schemed against. She was someone who genuinely believed you had a good heart under all the chaos. And you proved her wrong. Kane exhaled sharply. Lily fought for you more times than you know. Phyllis collapsed onto the bed, shaking, her chest tightening as the weight of their words hit her. She had pushed Lily away, not with one action, but with a series of choices that reflected who she truly was when she refused to face herself. Kane stepped toward the door. We're done here. But Phyllis, you need to get help. Real help. Not new schemes. Not new excuses. Help. He left. Daniel hesitated, then followed. Summer remained a moment longer. She looked at her mother, really looked, and said the words Phyllis dreaded most, I love you. But I don't trust you. Then she walked out. The silence that followed was unbearable. Phyllis curled forward, sobbing into her hands. She wasn't crying from guilt alone. She was crying because she realized something devastating: she had become the villain in her own story. She wasn't the misunderstood hero she imagined. She wasn't the scrappy survivor fighting unfair battles. She was the architect of her own destruction. Meanwhile, Genoa City shifted around her absence. Lily's departure was felt everywhere. Devon filled her role with stern authority but heavy sadness. Nate took on extra responsibility.